The following is a sponsored program paid for by Robin Gwaltney Group-RE Results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE Results and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning and welcome to Saturday morning. I'm Andy Brownell with Robin Gwaltney Group-RE Results. Robin, as we like to say, has been on assignment for a while, and for the past couple of weeks, members of her team, including her son Brett, have filled in for the program. But you are back. Good morning, Robin.
I've been back for a whole week now, so I am, in full swing. And to be really honest with you, we went to Ireland. Okay, so
wow.
It was a beautiful vacation, and it's kind of a fun little story I'm going to tell you. About 6 years ago, I was out for a walk and I saw this house that was a for sale by owner. And I obviously the owner was in the yard trimming some hedges. And I said, well, hello, good morning. And she said, good morning. I said, you have your house for sale, huh? And she looked at me pretty abruptly and said, isn't that what the sign says? I'm like, oh, I said, well, I just thought I'd introduce myself. I'm Robin Gwaltney. I'm a realtor. Well, I don't want a realtor. I'm like, all right, you have a great day. You have a wonderful day. And I went about a walk. Okay. She's a very straight and to the point gal. So a couple of weeks later, I walked by again and I thought, oh, gee, she's outside. So she actually waved me over and said, aren't you that realtor? I said, yes. And she said, would you be interested in seeing the inside of my house? And I said, well, yeah, if it's half as adorable as the outside, I'd love to see the inside. So she took me in and I said, if I have a buyer, would you be willing to pay me a commission if I bring you a buyer? She said, absolutely. So I took her phone number, and unfortunately, I didn't have any buyer in the next couple of weeks for that house. But then she reached back out to me and said, would you be interested in listing? My house that I'm building is done and I can move out. I'd like to get this house listed. I said, I'd love to. So I listed it. Didn't take long, and I got a buyer and I sold it. So now our fast friendship is moving forward. And then a couple of years later, well, actually last year, she called me and said, Robin, my grandma's house is on the market. Now, keep in mind, this client is at the time 80, and she says, my grandma's house is on the market. Clearly, her grandma's long gone, but this gives you an idea how old the house is. Okay. And I said, oh gosh, really? And she goes, yeah. And I have so many fun childhood memories from that house that I think I would like to buy it. And I said, what in the world are you going to do with it? And she said, I'm going to move. I said, you just built your dream house. You have everything you want in your home. You really want to do this? And she goes, I think so. She goes, the house I have is just a house, and I have so many great memories from that house that's going to be home to me. And she had just recently lost her only brother, and her parents are long gone, of course. So she was feeling a little nostalgic. She's never married, never had kids. Long story short, I helped her buy that house, and then I sold the one that she had built for herself and helped her sell her brother's house. And one day when I was at her house, I said, oh my gosh, that book looks amazing. It was a big coffee table book with photos of Ireland. I said, that's on my bucket list for sure. I want to go someday. She said, well, let's go. And I said, really? And she goes, I've been like 16 or 17 times, and I was prepared to go right before COVID, but then COVID came, so I haven't been back. And now I feel like I'd like to go at least one more time. And I said, well, I'll go with you. And she said, do you think Scott would go? I said, not a chance. And he's always said, I'm not going to Europe. That's not happening. I'm not going. I have no desire, no interest. So she asked him, and he said, sure, I'll go. I was like, okay. So I got into a little bit of a panic after he said he would go, because I'm like, whoa, that means we're both going to be gone from our business for 12 days. Like, we have never done that. All right. The longest we're ever gone is when we go on the cruise for our continuing ed, which is a 1 week cruise. So I said, well, that's going to be something. But we've had Brett now in the business for 3 years, and we've got such an amazing team. I thought there's really no reason we can't do this. So by golly, we did it, and it was as smooth as silk. And, I could answer the phone, but the glory of it was we'd get up going in the morning at, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Well, at home, that was 1:30 in the morning or 2 o'clock. So my phone was not ringing all day long. All day long. My phone was not ringing. So we were just relaxed. It was amazing. So then, late afternoon when things were starting to wind down, probably the second or third time you sit down for a cup of tea. Seems like they do that a lot. Anyway, then maybe the phone would start ringing or I'd get a few texts. So I would answer what I, needed to, or put people in touch with the people they needed to have help them. But it was, honest to God, a full-blown vacation. People say, oh, what do you mean? You go all the time. You're always gone. You're always going somewhere. I do go often, but it's almost always, with the exception of a weekend here or there, it's almost always work related.
You go to a lot of conferences, yeah.
And sometimes we add a day or two to the end or the start. But, this time it's like I was packing the suitcase and it was jeans and t-shirts. It was sweatshirts and a jacket, nothing dressy. No, it was really nice. I really enjoyed Ireland. I mean, I didn't know really what to expect other than what you see. I mean, I kind of expected it to be beautiful, and it was, and low key, and it was. But boy, oh boy, there's no pictures that can depict how nice the people are in Ireland. Everywhere you go. Yeah, loved it. Loved it.
That's been, I'm like Scott. I have no interest in going to Europe, but if I did go to Europe, it would be to Ireland because, well, my mom's maiden name was Kennedy, so there's a big family connection to Ireland. Grew up with everything Irish in my house.
Well, I would totally recommend it if you ever decide you're going to take a trip and you're going to, really go for it. And Delta has a nonstop flight out of Minneapolis. It was 7 hours going and a little over 8 hours coming back. Honestly, it was so easy. It was so easy.
Well, I am certainly glad you finally, to get away and actually have a real vacation after all these years must have been relaxing.
It was amazing. It was really nice. And to just know that my team is so awesome that not only could they handle the business, they could handle the radio show, they could handle everything I had to do, and they didn't miss me. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, I don't buy that for a second. I bet they were going, oh my gosh, only on 3 more days. We gotta survive 3 more days till Robin gets back.
Oh, well, if so, they didn't tell me that. Well, Brett kind of inkled. He said, wow, Mom, you really are busy. I'm like, yeah.
Well, speaking of busy, I saw that when you got back, one of the things you took care of is going to an event with it's I always forget, it's the Jeremiah.
Oh, the Jeremiah Project or the Jeremiah
project.
Program.
I always want to say
Jeremiah Program. It is program. Jeremiah Program.
And it's a wonderful outfit because they're dedicated, I know, for creating life-changing opportunities for young women who are of child.
They're single moms, single moms. And what they're doing is they're changing their lives 2 generations at a time because they're providing an education for those littles and for the moms, right? So the moms they're not providing the education for the moms, they're providing the opportunity, right? So the moms are in school, but they get an apartment there and they have just an amazing community to live in with the other moms, and they all help each other, and their kids become family and the moms become family, and you can just sense it when you're there. So yeah, we were there, one night this week, I don't even know, Tuesday night we were there, and they have a thing called Cooks for Kids, and it's a community wide thing where different organizations sign up to bring in the meal, and if you choose, you can bring in an activity as well. And we just have a real strong tie to the Jeremiah program because we've been supporters since they came to town. Well, actually, even before they got here, I was on a committee to help find the land to build the building, but it's just something that's really near and dear to our heart. We love the fact that it's fun to watch these moms do so well, because they're getting some support, right?
Yeah.
And to watch them, graduate from college or buy their first house, or, just watch them raise these kids that are oh my gosh, those kids are just great kids. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, we took in pizza from BB's Pizza and salads. That pizza is always a hit with kids, right? And then Gail came and called bingo and had prizes, and yeah, we had fun. And of course, we got to watch them all enjoy the outdoor patio playground area, which we sponsored when the building was first opened. So that makes me feel pretty happy and proud as well.
I saw there's a nice sign there that has both of your names on it.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the sign before. I guess it's been up for a while, but I had not seen it. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that's
what a
program.
What a great program. I mean, yeah. I think when you talk about raising kids, when you do it together, having a partner support you, and to try to pull that off by yourself, oh my gosh.
Right. That's why it's so cool to see those moms like help each other, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I love it.
Well, neat. We have to take a break already. We're with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE results, and we'll be back in just a moment at News Talk 1340 KROC AM at 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We're with Robin Gwaltney this morning, Gwaltney Group-RE results. And Robin, while you were off jet setting around the world,
yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Having tea. How's that?
I was chilled out, having tea. You got it.
The whole business with the National Association of Realtors, the settlement, the new way, I guess, for some of doing things was implemented.
Yes.
I think that was last weekend, in fact.
It was the 17th was the official date. Okay. So I actually got a very interesting phone call while I was in Ireland. The lady started by saying, I apologize for calling you so late. I realize it's almost 9 o'clock. I said, oh gosh, no, I'm in Ireland. It's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon. No problem. And she said, oh gosh, now I feel worse because you're on vacation. And I said, oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. I chose to answer the phone call. What can I help you with? So she told me that she listens to me on the radio. So kudos to us, Andy. I loved that. And
love that too.
Wanted to know if I could explain to her what the heck is going on. So she said she's been told different things by different people, and she knew she could count on me to set her straight. So I did explain to her. And these are the things that had happened to her that I just shook my head. First of all, the first weekend, she went to an open house. Actually, she went to 3 different open houses. The first one met her at the door and told her she would have to sign a contract before coming in the house. And she said, no, I am not comfortable doing that. And they said, well, then you can't come in. The second one, they told her she would have to sign a contract. She could choose between the touring agreement or the right to represent. And she said, just to come to an open house. And they said, yes, that's the new rule. Okay, let's stop right there. That is not the new rule. You can still come through an open house without signing anything. It's an open house. It's a safe zone. You can come in. Now, if you're working with another agent and you are under contract with the other agent, you should still tell that to the agent, and the agent that's there hosting should still be asking you that. And that's important because, okay, let's just say you're working with me and you go to an open house held by, let's say, Dinah Realty. And they say, are you working with an agent? And you say, yes, I'm working with Robin Gwaltney. And you seem to like the house. That agent, if they're a good agent, and my guess is they will be, are going to call me and say, hey, Robin, you had one of your clients at my open house today. They seem like they liked it. I just want to let you know I've received an offer. They'll communicate with me, right? So It's just important for that reason. but you can still go to open houses without signing anything. Now, what you can't do is you can't go view a house without signing something. So if you just happen to drive by my new listing and you call me up and you say, hey, Robin, I see you have a new listing. Could you show it to me? And even if it's you, Andy, and it's somebody I know, I can say, well, according to the new laws, I can show it to you, but you're going to have to sign at minimum this touring agreement. Now, the touring agreement, it spells it out that you're not obligated to work with me. You can sign a touring agreement with me at 10 o'clock in the morning. You can go across town, see somebody else's listing that you want to see, and sign a touring agreement with them at 1 o'clock that afternoon. That the touring agreement is not tying you to any agent. It's just saying that you're signing to come in there, that you're giving that realtor permission to show you that house. And it's all spelled out that you don't owe any money and that you're not locking in for any kind of a long-term agreement. All right.
Okay. Well,
at minimum, that has to be signed.
Okay, but that begs the question, why? I mean, it seems like it's a kind of a meaningless document at that point.
Oh boy, I'm glad you said that and not me. Yeah, because initially the way they were going to do it is you can't show these properties to anybody unless they're under contract with you saying they are your buyer, you are their agent, you're locked in. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. If I go to Mayo Clinic, I meet a new doctor and they tell me, oh, well, before you even talk, before you even get to know each other, sign here. You've decided this is your doctor. This is going to be your doctor. And you're committed. Well, what the heck? We don't even know each other. So then they thought this is not going to work. You know, like the only time anybody's going to look at a house is going to be if they've already got a relationship with the realtor or if it's an open house, because no one is just going to say, oh, you look nice. Sure, I'll sign a contract with you saying I'll work with you for the next 6 months and exclusively with you. So they came up with this touring agreement, which I'm with you. I don't really understand it, but it's just to say that we've made these people aware that they're not represented. You know, it's basically agency, which we were always supposed to explain anyway. Like you should always have that conversation. I represent the seller at this time because this is my listing, or I don't represent the seller. You just called me because somebody recommended you to me, but the listing happens to be another company's listing. But I have to, at minimum, and it's not just me, everybody has to sign this.
Okay.
And let me tell you, if we get caught taking somebody into a property without them signing something, it is not, they don't take that lightly. I mean, this is very serious business. So I think those only last for 7 days. So if you signed that with me, I could show you properties for 7 days. But then if you want to continue to look at properties with me, then it's time to enter into a contract. Or I believe you could sign a new touring agreement. I don't know what the point of that would be. By this time, if you've committed to each other, then you would just get your paperwork settled and sign it.
You would hope so, yeah. So
yeah.
In essence, it's a paperwork trail. So
it's a paperwork trail, and it's just, this is the other thing, that buyer's right to represent scares the bejesus out of people, because it says right in there in big bold letters, it's your obligation, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, or Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Buyer, whoever you are working with, it's your obligation to pay me to represent you. And then because commission is negotiable and always has been, you write that number in there, whatever that percentage is that you're asking to be paid. Okay. And when they sign that, it says, yep, I will be responsible to pay this. Now, we always go on to say, if we can collect that money from the seller or from the listing broker, that would be in lieu of you having to pay it. Okay, so this is where it comes in that you really are going to want to be signing a contract with an agent who has the ability to negotiate. All right, it used to be, it's always said that, you know, if I can collect the money from the seller, it's in lieu. Well, at that time, you could pull up the listings on the MLS and you could show them, yep, this guy's paying me 3%. This guy's paying me 3%. This guy's paying me 2.7. This guy's paying me 3%. This guy's offering 2.5. This guy's offering 3%. It was always public. It was in the MLS for us to find. One of the big changes is they've had to remove that from the MLS. They can't put that in there anymore. Okay. We can't put that in the MLS anywhere. So now if you're under contract with me and our contract says you're willing to pay me 3% to represent you because that's what you and I have agreed on. Now I'm going to write an offer on a house and I'm going to try my darndest to write a good offer and something that's going to satisfy that seller, and also ask that they pay 3% so that you don't have to pay anything. So exactly the way we used to do it.
Except for now it's all documented.
Yeah. And now some of the agents are going in and telling sellers, well, I'll list for you for 3%, or I'll list for you for 2.7, or I'll list for you for 4%, or whatever they're saying. They want to get paid. Okay. And then they're saying, and then we'll let the other agent fight for their commission. Well, there's different opinions out there, and there is not a right way or a wrong way. I have my opinion about what's the right way, but that's just my opinion. So I'll keep it to myself. But the truth is that I feel like if I say to you, hey, Andy, let's sell your beautiful house for $1 million. Okay. And I'm just going to charge you 3%. So that's $30,000 in commission. You don't owe anything on the house. So when you walk away after your expenses, you're going to get a big fat check for about $945,000 or whatever it is. Okay. Then we're going to say, I'm going to say, but no, just to let you know, there might be a realtor who comes in and asks for money. Well, you've already kind of got your mindset on, I'm only paying 3%. So when that other offer comes in and now they want 3%, you're like, well, dang it. You know, that's another $30,000 off my check. Shoot. So I feel like we're not really setting people up, honestly, if we're telling them, well, we don't have to pay the other agent's commission if we don't want to. Because the buyer, let's now say you're the buyer, you're saying, Robin, I've got to pay my down payment, which I've been saving up for. I've got to pay my closing costs, which thank goodness I've also got that in my account. And I've got to have a little money so that once I move into that house, if anything happens, I've still got some money in the bank. Now you're telling me I've also got to cough up the commission? It's never been like that. So I say, well, that's what some of the contracts say, but we can always go in and ask. So when we call the other agent, if they say, yes, my seller is willing to pay the commission, then we write it up one way saying we're going to collect from the broker because they've already included it in their listing, or we're going to write it up another way if the seller is paying directly. So it's just a lot more paperwork. But to be very honest with you, the entire concept really hasn't changed.
Right. It's just you have to document that you went and explained all of this to the person that
which you should have always been doing. That's what caused the lawsuit in the first place, is that unfortunately there were people who weren't doing their job correctly, who weren't saying, listen, this is the money that you're going to pay, this is where it's going to go. I mean, if you were always giving a very thorough explanation and you were always telling them this is all negotiable, if you were always telling them, we're going to then, from this money that you've agreed to pay me, we're going to take half of it and pay it to whoever brings in the buyer. If you always explained that and always did your job right, this lawsuit would have never come about. But I'll tell you, this lawsuit is just, it just burns us as realtors because it's this big class action suit that's supposed to protect all those homeowners and home buyers that got so ripped off. This big class action lawsuit where the lawyers walk away with, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars. And each person that was a part of the lawsuit, each one of these home buyers that got ripped off got a whopping check for $26.50.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, that's par for the course, right? Okay.
Unfortunately.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be back. Robin Gwaltney is here. Gwaltney Group Remax Results. It's News Talk 1340 KROC AM at 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group Remax Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We are back Saturday morning with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group Remax Results. And Robin, while you were gone enjoying your relaxing vacation, the world continued to turn. And it looks like even more pressure now on interest rates coming down. Am I reading that right?
Oh, yeah. I actually had a closing Friday, and I was so excited to see that they closed on a 30-year fixed just under 6%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Now that's, all the things, all the stars lining up, the excellent credit, all of those things. But yeah, I mean, I've been reading a lot. You can imagine that's one of the things I'm super interested in is, what the predictions are for the interest rate. And I think it's all sounding very favorable. Now, I heard somebody say, I heard they're going to be back in the threes. Now, listen, where is that coming from? I feel like if we get back in the mid fives and we can kind of hover in the mid fives, this is glorious. And if it goes back down to the low fives, get out there and buy what you can buy, people. But you know what I say, Andy, you don't wait for the rate. You marry the house, you date the rate. If you find the house that you like now, let's get out there and get it for you. And if the rates do drop by 1%, then it probably is worth it for you to refinance. But as these rates go down, the more and more buyers are in the market. And so more people are fighting for the houses and you're paying more. So it all works out. And I say, buy while it's not a stressful market, while you can still go in, say, I'd like to make this contingent upon an inspection. Oh, we found this wrong. We'd like to have you fix it. And oh, by the way, can you pitch in $5,000 to our closing costs or whatever? You have some room to negotiate right now because we do have a lot of listings. I mean, for me to say a lot of listings, doesn't that sound crazy?
Yeah.
But
it does.
we have 329 active listings versus 176 that are pending. And normally it's kind of a 50-50 ratio. So, and more coming on the market. So the reason we have more coming on the market is those people who have been wanting to move up, waiting for the interest rates to come down, are at that point where they're saying, okay, we're going to do this now. We're feeling good. So then their houses are coming on the market. So I feel, and this is my little mini prediction, that September, October, and November are going to be like our normal March, April, May. I think we're going to have kind of a spring market this fall. So I think we're going to see a lot of activity, and we sure have remained busy all summer, and I see no sight of things letting up. And boy, oh boy, I am not complaining. I am loving every minute of it. I'm loving the fact that we are out there able to negotiate. It's like I love using my ability to negotiate, because when the market was so nuts that all you negotiated was how high or how much above ask are you going to go, and what maneuvers are we going to use to be selected over all the other great offers. This is more, to me, satisfying in the sense that I feel I can really put my buyers into houses at the best price possible. Now, it doesn't mean values have dropped just because houses are sitting on the market a little longer, but it does mean that we can usually get sellers to negotiate a little bit, right?
Yeah, and some of the peripheral things that you can work on.
Right. So, yeah, it's a great market. It's a great time to buy a house. It's a great time to sell a house. I mean, life is good, people. So these new rules, do not let them scare you. Just make sure you can be in touch with someone who can explain anything that you don't understand. If you need me to be that person, by all means, call me. I have a very clear understanding of how this is all going down. And I've had no problem explaining this to I think I've listed 4 properties since I've been back. So this last week, I've listed 4 properties under the new rules. Every single one of them understood it very well and wanted to go with the plan that I laid forth. So I feel like this is just the media getting a hold of, and I'm not burning on the media. I know that means you too, Andy, but I'm just
okay
saying
with it.
they take little bits and pieces and then they create stories like, oh, this is going to make, you don't have to pay the realtors anymore and the home prices are going to go down. And no, I don't know any realtors that have started to work for free. And I don't know any home prices that have gone down in our market. So don't believe everything you hear. I mean, bits and pieces of it are true. There's always some truth to every story, but they just get told wrong. So again, make sure you're working with somebody who can explain it all to you clearly so that you feel comfortable. But absolutely, you will have to sign something to see properties or go to an open house. Those are your 2 options.
Okay, how do they get a hold of you? Because
Absolutely.
it's obvious to me that you're the one to call on this.
Well, thank you. My cell phone number is 507-259-4926. You can call me anytime. If I'm unavailable to answer, I will most definitely call you back.
Great, Robin. You enjoy the rest of the weekend, and we'll chat again next week.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results. News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.